Hello, good morning, good afternoon, and or good night. This is Genshin Impact English lesson number 5. We're continuing Liyue Act 3, Part 2. And yep, grab whatever achievements you've got. Battle Pass, other stuff, dailies. You're already in the meat of it already, so you better do your dailies for that one strategic pull. After we saved Mendan, we're going right back to Liyue Harbor. Beautiful view as always. We'll let Kaya glide into the sky. Captain Kaya, yeah! We're definitely going to need him in Inazuma because I don't have many Kaya characters. And that's likely what you're going to endure too when you're in Inazuma. So it's really good to build Kaya relatively early. Yeah, and Inazuma is one of those places in Genshin Impact where you can't really get there freely, even if you use a ship or use Farina to cross the water. Paimon's just gonna say, let's explore the area later. So you have to do everything in Liyue and when prompted to go to Inazuma. And punch attack, yeah! Alright, let's start it.
Terra Smash!
Mung Dan told us that we could get a nice and shiny box from your store.
Uncle Mung already told me about it. Thank you both for saving him. Many of the best goods in our store were found by Uncle Mung. If anything were to happen to him, it would be impossible for us to continue doing business. Here, this container is itself an antique, with at least 140 years of history. It's already been cleaned. Will it do?
Yep. It's great!
Yep. A more casual way of saying yes. Mostly said by like younger kids in America. Like, yep. I want my candy. The tone and setting are supposed to be very casual, friendly, and usually very playful. And affectionate in this case. Another variation is yep. From yup. They both mean the same thing.
Hang on a moment. Could we borrow one other thing?
Sure. Please help yourselves. As long as it's on our shelves.
Traveler, this clay pot looks really awesome. If we use an antique as our mixing bowl, we should be able to make a great snack. It's done! The one and only sugar-frosted slime! Carefully now. Into the box it goes and dust it over with a bit more powdered sugar.
Oh, yes. You might want to use these 2 freshly picked flowers as decorations, too.
Let's see.
Woohoo! It looks beautiful!
That does look pretty.
Great! Now that we've put all that we've got into this box, let's go to the Jade Chamber to see Ningguang.
And then let's find a way up and die together because we're going to Ningguang.
Thanks for saving Uncle Mung. Well, now, time to clean that pot.
Yeah, you better clean that pot or the Serenity
Thanks
pot.
for saving Uncle
no,
Mung.
not again.
Please take
Come
care.
on. No.
Well, now, time
No.
to clean that pot.
Okay. And then my advice is, okay, you're in Liyue, you're doing some stuff. You may as well try to upgrade your Geo Traveler just in the future in case you're lacking Geo characters. Because, yep, that C1 is incredibly useful in case you can't get Noelle's constellation and or having a hard time leveling up Noelle just because of her shield passive. And then I traveled up just because it is easier to go to where we're going, right over here. We have to tell a guy a secret code, I believe, if I remember. Will he like my plunge attack? And yeah, oh wow, that was a long one there.
According to Kuching, this is what we should say. Excuse me, do you sell the moon here?
Even if you may know the phrase, excuse me is a more polite way to catch someone's attention before asking them a polite question. Best example, person A is walking by a sidewalk with many people. Oh, excuse me, sir, do you know where XYZ is? Where's the bathroom? We ask a lot of each other as humans, so when we start a question with excuse me, the recipient is most likely going to react a positive way to give you that information. And pay attention what you're doing, because if you're in a busy place, if it looks like you're selling something, people will ignore you. From my travels, the best question you're going to ask, that I think you should ask if you're traveling anywhere else, is trying to say, oh, hi, excuse me, sir, ma'am, what are the best restaurants here? And then you're going to have a lot of answers.
Yes. How many would you like?
It's not convenient to speak of numbers here.
Ah, well said. Please, use this to ascend to the chamber. Yes, speaking of which, are you two the guests that Lady Ningguang has arranged to meet with today?
Yep.
And then here he answers traveler's last question, and then, speaking of which, commonly used to refer to something that traveler has already said before. More in this context, he remembers that Ningguang told him to bring in two guests if they arrive. Which is why he's prompted to say, speaking of which, do you happen to be those people? Speaking of which is a very useful phrase to bring back other referenced themes in conversation. Such as two gal friends gossiping, and then one of them says, speaking of which, how is Brenda's boyfriend? Related to Brenda, but unrelated to Brenda.
And yet the code they used was not the one for guess, but for the Yuheng. What's going on here?
Ooh, who's this?
I've been waiting for you, returnee from Joyun Karst.
It's Ningguang! Since this is our first meeting, we've prepared a gift. I hope you like it.
Oh, for me. You have my thanks. It seems that I have made things difficult for you, considering that you were supposed to be my guests.
I would file a complaint, but you're too pretty.
Oh no, it's nothing.
I'm glad you like it too. This palace floats in the skies, higher than the peak of any mountain. From this vantage point, one may survey all of Liyue. I have been gathering the funds necessary to build it from the time I began learning the merchant's craft. And since becoming the Tianquan, I have spared no effort in hiring the best craftsmen to constantly extend it.
To spare no effort is an idiom meaning to do everything possible, to use all available resources, or work just as hard to achieve a goal. Such as, let's say in conversation, someone who works really hard for Netflix, depending on what role, maybe someone senior for another senior, and Netflix says, yes, we spare no effort to renew this senior executive's visa. And let's say this senior executive is transferring from an American Netflix branch to a Spanish Netflix branch. Because this idiom implies that something requires a lot of effort, visa, yes, requires a lot of effort, especially for a big company trying to keep a senior executive in their company and branch. And they do this all the time, really, to try to keep that senior executive working for them for a long period of time. The people and our head in charge of that visa for that senior executive will most likely say this idiom to whoever they report to. There's a lot of paperwork to keep senior executives, depending on which companies.
At first, it was but the size of one room. Now it is large enough to blot out the moon in the skies above Liyue.
To blot out, in this case, to cover.
One day, I believe it will overshadow all 7 nations. Not many from outside Liyue earn the right to ascend to the Jade Chamber. But I have been in correspondence with the acting Grand Master of the Knights of Favonius, who spoke highly of you. As such, I have been putting eyes and ears out ever since you reached Liyue.
What?
And I finally got wind of your movements when you were on the way to Wangshu Inn.
Wait! Was Goldet one of your people?
Even if there's great stuff to cover here, like I finally caught wind of your movements, and then putting eyes and ears out, she's been softly spying on us before we even went to Liyue.
Just Goldet? No. Everyone at Wangshu Inn is one of ours.
Paimon's reaction.
Everyone
Yeah,
at
and then
Wangshu
also
Inn
in
is one of
censored
ours.
English, whenever you see anything like that, that's just an exclamation.
At the Guizhang Ballista. Yes.
You weren't peeking on us from the skies the whole time, were you?
I fear that peeking would have been a little difficult from this altitude.
She's so snarky.
Our eyes and ears are more than sufficient. You two are very interesting people, after all. It would be natural to take an interest. Well, I wouldn't expect you to trust us, considering that you have had far more interactions with the Adepti. The reason I invited you here was to clear up some misunderstandings.
Oh good, let's talk, lady.
I believe that you've heard of the Archon War. Many gods used to walk this earth, and many long wars were fought between them that did not abate until 2,000 years ago. Much blood was shed, and many lives were lost.
Abate, verb, meaning to become less intense or decrease in the amount of degree or strength, such as a storm. Inferring the negative, she says did not abate, which means the Archon War did not decrease in violence, increase in so much violence. Definitely more on that later. This is literally like the first step of you learning it, so I'm not gonna spoil that part ahead of time. You're gonna know. Abate is a less common word to be said, so you can fairly ignore this word. It's very formal, and most likely because she's talking about history, this could be used in formal historical lessons.
In the end, only 7 victors remained standing in Tevat. They built cities and nations on the corpses of the vanquished, and thus began the era of the 7. You can see Goyun Stone Forest from here, I trust. It is no natural rock formation. Those are giant spears of rock hurled by Rex Lapis during the war. Beneath the spears lie those cast down by Rex Lapis in those days, gods that failed to seize the title of Archon. Not only is it true that gods may die, but so too has the membership of the 7 changed over the last 2 millennia. Rex Lapis's passing is an unimaginable disaster for Liyue, but the Order of the 7 will not collapse simply because of that. Another Lord of Geo will arise sooner or later. Yet, how are we to forget Rex Lapis? When that time comes, the relationship between the people of Liyue and the gods and Adepti will surely be different from before.
Surely, adverb. She knows that life will be different without Rex lapis, so everything will be surely different. Instead of saying these will be very different, it's more specified. Surely is a tricky adverb just because in this context, she's saying something that is uncertain, because surely means that you're trying to make a certain remark. I mean, it is a great character script and dialogue just because this is exactly how we would use surely as a fluent English speaker, because it's fairly common to say something uncertain, who are we to forget without Rex Lapis, and then saying, surely these will be different. Very common.
Even in a new era, the Liyue Qixing remain Rex Lapis's former subjects. Do you really think us capable of having played a part in his demise? Of lacking the foresight to see the certain repercussions?
Repercussions, noun, is usually often indirect or unintended, long-lasting negative consequences from a following event or action. You might ask, what is the huge difference from the other synonyms such as ramifications, aftermath, after effect, backlash? Saying that something has repercussions usually emphasizes the negative reaction rather than the complexity of the outcome. A lot of great words more related to if you're reading a history textbook. So let's take the Great Depression as an example. Before we understand repercussions, we need to know what caused something. The Great Depression is the best example because it was caused by a severe decline in consumer spending and investment and by a stock market crash. Specific repercussions that happened in the Great Depression, as you may have learned, was mass unemployment and bank failures. And I'm not a history major. This feels highly relevant now. Anyways, back to Genshin Impact. Let's go away from our problems for the moment.
That day at Yujing Terrace, it was also very sudden. Even I was caught completely off guard. You were there. You no doubt saw.
We certainly saw. It's always funny with negatives. You no doubt saw. A lot of these little things are a little dumb, but and this is a game. This is very formal. The speaker is formal, and Ningguan is a woman of power. As a bilingual and fluent English speaker, double negatives are simply pointless in conversation. And later, you might learn that in the future.
But our enemy has long lain hidden within the harbor. If we do not act against them now, they will surely gain the upper hand.
Long lain hidden, a phrase meaning something is out of sight for a long period of time. As an example, in Zelda, Ganondorf is long lain hidden within the chasm in the Tears of the Kingdom storyline.
Hiding the Exuvia was a necessary maneuver to take the initiative back, to play the spider while our foes scurry about.
Who's this enemy you're talking about?
What do you think, traveler?
Is it him?
Huh? What are you two talking about?
Well answered.
Huh?
The scenery out here is fine indeed, but the wind is a little strong. Our preparations to receive guests within are complete, so please, this way.
And that was a long interlude into her Jade Chamber. So we're going to meet her in there. The Jade Chamber is incredibly beautiful. Do take a look around.
Wowee! What a huge hall! Paimon's never seen such a fancy place before.
Be at ease, you two. Make yourselves at home if you wish.
Be at ease, we could be as comfortable as we like, such as parkouring all over her place.
Can we really?
I have invited you two here as friends. And when friends come over to play, our enjoyment comes first. Naturally.
Ooh, isn't this that legendary wall?
Why, you've kept your ear to the ground, I see.
Keep your ear to the ground, an idiom meaning to stay informed or to pay close attention to certain things, such as rumors, trends, or other things. A bit of an outdated idiom. It could be used such as, rumor has it there will be layoffs, so I'm keeping my ear to the ground for any news. I doubt many people have stopped saying this idiom now. It's probably here because something didn't translate very well from the original Chinese transcript. And this is the closest meaning.
那面墙吗？
哦，你的消息很灵通嘛。
We recognize this from the Ghost Hotel, so she knows that we know. We both discovered something legendary, so in this context, it's more on the rumor side.
That's because even the storytellers are talking about it. Everyone's after a piece of paper from that wall. It's super famous.
That's because that wall records Liyue's secrets. Merchants have always been attracted to secrets. But the secrets of the mercantile world are of no interest to you, are they, traveler? You're rather special, really, and I think you're quite aware of that. If possible, I'd like to have your trust. But if you were to choose the more trustworthy person between myself and Kuching...
I trust Kuching more. Sorry.
You'd pick Kuching? Nah, I had a feeling. I originally thought her a bit too hard-headed. With someone of her character on the Qixing, I've had some extra messes to clean up behind the scenes.
Hard-headed, stubborn.
But after she said those words, the time of the Adepti has long passed. If even the Liyue Qixing don't want to face that truth, then what future is there for Liyue? Well, I must say that quite a few of my doubts have been dispelled. I won't deny that Rex Lapis's passing seems advantageous to us. But for Liyue's sake, we cannot allow ourselves to be shackled by rumors of our usurpation of power.
Ooh, this is a good word. So, usurpation, noun, means it is the illegal, wrongful, or forced seizure of power, or property, or authority. Like in all of our ancient history, there were so many examples of this. The list just goes on. Though it may be problematic to frame that, let's take a smaller example, such as the Supreme Court can be accused of usurpation when it is perceived to create new laws rather than interpret them, such as the 1896 Plessy versus Ferguson decision. Yes, that would be the best example. The Supreme Court definitely has participated in some usurpation over a very long period of time since the Declaration of Independence was created.
Indeed. It seems that you understood what I meant to say from the very beginning. I called for the gag order and for the exuvia to be hidden to temporarily stabilize the situation, and also to prevent something similar to the incident in Mondstadt. With Rex Lapis's death, the Fatui have busied themselves with many clandestine actions beyond their diplomatic remit. As the Tianquan, one responsible for Liyue, I cannot be too concerned with appearances when opposing them.
Even if it sounds very gorgeous and pretty, clandestine, adjective, means to be kept secret or done secretly, usually to conceal improper or unauthorized activity. Even if rarely said in casual conversations, used in formal conversations, maybe within government, for describing clandestine manner, it would generally be very unnatural to use clandestine in a casual conversation just because the context given is pretty serious. Like in a sentence, if a mom was saying, I had to report my son to the police because he was selling drugs to other students. It was so clandestine, I had to do something with it. So that would be like a situation there. Don't sell drugs. It's illegal. I know I joke, but that's very serious. Don't sell drugs. Ever.
Allowing the rite of parting to take place was also meant to buy some time for us to take control of Liyue's administration.
It's exactly as Zhongli said. The Qixing only provided the venue for the rite so they could use us for their own ends. Wait, that's right. Speaking of ends, could I say one other thing?
Of course.
Paimon's heard that anyone who sends a greeting gift gets a little something in return. So, does that include us?
It's all right. I like direct people.
Will you go out on a date with me? Wait, that's not what I meant to say. Ningguan. Sorry.
We have made quite a bit of trouble for you recently. How about this? You can pick any one object here as you please, and you may take it with you.
Seriously? Sweet.
Yay! Paimon was just waiting for you to say that. Let's see, what should we get?
More Mora, obviously. Maybe she has some hidden Primo gems?
One of the sheets on that wall!
Seriously, Paimon? Seriously?
Don't look at Paimon like that! One of these sheets of paper will sell for crazy prices, even if it's only as large as Paimon's fingernail.
Why not one of her jades? Sheesh.
Just imagine how much more a whole untorn sheet would sell for.
Oh, whatever. This is just how Paimon thinks. She's just being cute. Even though we're kind of in a place that has a lot of Stashimora, I
The
believe.
biggest one!
I see you, Ningguan. Where's your Mora laundering here? Or Primo Gem laundering? No. And then there's lots of cool stuff over here for your archive. Definitely take a look around.
Huh? Well, that was an easy search. The biggest sheet is right up there in the most obvious spot. Let's go with that one. La 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 la. Let's see what's written on it. Huh? There's a place marked with a circle on here. Oh, could it be treasure? Whatever it is, it better make us filthy rich. Let's see what's written over here.
Filthy rich, we'll get a lot of money.
Sigil of permission, something, something, Fatui, research, copy. Huh? Aw, that doesn't sound like treasure at all. This piece of paper shows that a Qixing spy discovered traces of classified Fatui research on the Sigil of Permission. Oh, Ningguang did say that the Fatui have been up to all kinds of mischief in the shadows of Liyue, spreading rumors, wanting to get their hands on the Archon's body and whatnot. But research on the Sigil of Permission? Paimon wonders what they're up to. Speaking of which, there's also some connection between you and the Sigil of Permission. Seems there's still more for us to find out. Oh, you really think so? Well, should we not go then? Oh, so you're saying that it's precisely because we can't completely trust Ningguang that we should confirm the truth of what she says for ourselves.
Yeah, because Paimon notices that Ningguang kinda bends the truth a little, or kinda has to.
That's way out of Paimon's league. Paimon thinks she's been nothing but good to us.
Yes, she has. Besides the first part of the mission.
Anyway, we'll see if you're onto something.
You bet I am.
Before we look for Zhongli at Dihua Marsh, let's go to the place marked out on these papers and see if the Fatui really are up to no good there.
And yeah, that's our English lesson for today. I'll see you on the next one, and thanks for watching. We'll continue to Liyue Act 3, Part 3, English Lesson 46. Bye. Au revoir. 再见.
Yawning without covering your mouth. Uncouth.